Good morning. Rise and freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network. It's Friday. Yes. Not Monday. No. It's over. We get to enjoy the weekend a little bit. Stephanie and I are going to be busy. Speaking of Steffi, my smoking hot, red-headed libertarian wifey.
Well, good morning. I'm wearing my girl boss blazer this morning.
You look beautiful today, Stephanie. So gorgeous. Camera 1, camera 2, camera 1, camera 2, camera 3. Hey. And camera 4 is you have to, it's an unlockable camera.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Hazel just fell asleep right in the nick of time. She was literally crying like crazy.
Like 10 minutes ago. 10 minutes ago, it was the loudest.
The thing is, she's been crying a lot when she's sleepy, so that's a new thing for her.
Yes.
Now we know when she's sleepy because she cries and she just won't stop crying no matter what we do.
Yes.
She goes to sleep.
Yes. Now, listen, we don't have a whole lot of time today because, and people are going to be mad at us because...
For a lot of things.
Yes. No Justin Peterson.
I know, they were talking about him in the chat. They're like, Justin's so great. I'm like, no, he's not here.
No Justin, and the show has to end early today. Yikes.
Because a possible governor candidate, or a possible governor is coming in.
He's going to be the next governor of Missouri. Mike Kehoe coming into the studio.
Yeah, so maybe baby Hazel can meet a governor for the first time.
If we were smart, we should have had him come in here on our show. But then we wouldn't have still had enough time to break down and set up and all that kind of stuff.
It's been quite complex. Imagine multiple cameras, him. Well, I guess I would have stepped out. He would have sat here. Yeah, that would have been complicated. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So. Maybe another day.
Hey, without an income tax, Stephanie, who would build the roads?
Well, we live on a private road, so that's not a problem for us.
Last night, Ron Paul tweeted a Donald Trump proposal saying that it would really make America great again if we abolish the income tax.
And the Fed! He's like, I've been saying this for years, and finally you're getting it.
Yes.
He's probably so mad.
Well, no, he's happy. But here's the thing. I mean, he wouldn't have... See, people are like, well, what would you replace it with? Ron Paul was always like, I'd replace it with nothing, and thank you.
Well, Donald Trump wants to replace it with something. Unlike Ron Paul.
Right, that's the difference, right? So
yes.
Ron Paul wants to replace the income tax with nothing. Donald Trump wants to replace it with tariffs, which I'm not a big fan
of. Can I say
that's
why Ron Paul never won the election?
In part.
But Trump probably might.
Yeah, well, Ron was more of an ideas guy. He was not. Yeah. He didn't care about winning.
We can't win with ideas.
Yeah, you can't win with ideas. No, you can't. And that's the triumph of pragmatism over politics, which we've seen. Many libertarians are now endorsing Donald Trump.
Oh, well,
what happened? What happened? Right? There's been a lot of to-do being made about Austin's compromise of his principles for supporting Trump, and there was
what about the children?
What about the babies that he's going to kill in the Middle East? He's going to kill all those babies, because he's a genocide. He's supporting the Israeli genocide in the Middle East because Israel's an apartheid genocide regime, and Donald Trump is a big fan. He's a Zionist. He's pro-Israel and all that kind of stuff. It's just
that's despicable.
But all these libertarians who call me a warmonger Zionist neocon for the last several months. Now they're supporting the biggest, most pro-Israel guy who's running. It's amazing.
Gosh, they're sellouts.
Yeah, they are. Exactly, Stephanie. They are big. They are huge sellouts. We plan on holding them accountable.
Such a weak backbone.
These idiots. Well, at least they wised up in the end.
At least they're not voting for Kamala. I mean, she's also pro-Israel.
Some of them are voting for
Chase. They could have voted for her.
Some of them are voting for Chase Oliver. We're looking into this camera over here, Stephanie. Hi, everybody. Everybody say hi.
Hi. Sorry, I was so involved in the conversation. This gets me heated.
We got to set him up. I know. We got to talk. We're going to talk about it. We're going to have a lot of fun, but we got to set it all up. No Justin today. I know.
Womp,
womp. Womp, womp. No Justin, and the show's over 30 minutes early. But that just means that we got to squeeze him anyway, though, because we still got bonus content to unlock. We've still got a bonus baby. It's the 4th camera.
Yes.
If you want to unlock the 4th camera today and get that bonus baby, we got to hit $100 by the end of the show. And we ain't got no e-girl drama like Daniela Pensack, although she did great last night.
Oh,
Daniela and Liberty Tonight boys did fantastic.
Oh, they did. Yeah, we pretty much stayed up till 11.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, we were like 11 o'clock, like we're like laying there in bed, just like, as Liberty Tonight was finishing up their set last night at 11 p.m. But delayed gratification, we know that we're making investments in the long-term quest for liberty.
Absolutely. Yeah, last night was a success. 100%.
Right. It was a big success, and I was really happy to see like Bucks Nasty was there last night in the stream. Some of them who were there with us last night
Marty Styles was there
with us this morning, and they're there last night. There are super fans. We appreciate you guys.
Mr. PYG was very chatty last night.
He's a pretty young thing.
Oh, is that what that means? Pretty young girl?
No, well, yes, actually,
Like
yes, it does. Now it does that you said that.
Or pig, PYG.
PYG, I'm not sure.
I'm sure it stands for something.
Pretty young girl now. Yeah, repeat after me. Say na na na.
Na, 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 na.
Oh, Latrell, L-Dubs for that great Thomas Sowell you tweeted the other day on the Dave Clint endorsement of Trump. See, some people have been paying attention, right? There's a lot of just like want to be like kind of like Me Too retards who kind of follow these guys. And it's like, they're not paying attention to what's going on, like, oh, Austin the neocon, right? But there's some people out there, Latrell, like being like, no, Austin was ahead of the curve the whole time. You guys just were paying it. You guys were just,
Yeah.
You guys are just also wannabes. Nelson, the world needs wannabes. Yeah, let's see some more wannabes. So, hey, vote that Trumpy way. Dun, 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 dun.
Did you just make that song?
No, it's so don't debate, stay up late. You know he really doesn't get it anyway. So don't hesitate, so don't overcompensate. You know you can always go on Ricky Lake. The world needs wannabes, yeah. Let's be some more wannabes. Hey, do that freaky thing. Do. Thanks, guys, for the bonus dollars, the unlocks. We want Justin. We want Justin. No, Latrell, you get no Justin. No.
Latrell said.
That was Nelson. No, Latrell's been paying attention to what's going on.
So what was the Thomas Sowell quote?
It was the one that I quoted to you this morning when we were talking about this topic, and when I said to you that people will forgive you for being wrong.
Yes.
But they will never forgive you for being right, especially if circumstances that proved you right proved them wrong.
Yes, they have big egos.
Yes.
It's hard to push that aside.
Let's just make sure that to remind them, whenever they get cocky again, that they're supporting a genocidal, warmongering, Zionist neocon in Donald Trump.
From now on, it's going to be America first, okay? America first.
But because they want to protect the children so much, that's why they're not voting for Chase Oliver, because he wants to trans the kids, but he doesn't like Israel.
But anti-war is the most important thing, right? And so that means
the children are the most important thing. So how can you fight for the children when they're becoming trans and Chase Oliver wants to make them
we
trans?
We can talk about the libertarian retardation and the e-girls of the libertarian movement a little bit later. We got shit that actually matters this morning. Let's talk about abolishing income tax. Let's hear what Hillary Clinton has to say about Trump rallies. Take a listen.
What do you think Vice President Harris needs to do, in your view, to avoid a repeat?
Of
what?
Of Hillary Clinton's campaign.
What?
Yeah, dude. That's CNN. Hold on.
Well, first of all, I don't think she has Jim Comey in the wings waiting to kneecap her, so that's good, and I'm very grateful for that. But I think she is doing what she needs to do, and in reporting from today, I think by CNN,
James Comey was the guy who she blames on her loss because he was the one who started the investigation of her emails right before the
email leaks.
Yeah, the email stuff.
Yes.
A number of the voters who were at your town hall have said she convinced them that she had shown the kind of empathy and concern about their problems, that she'd come forward with her ideas, her suggested policies. So I think she's doing what she needs to do. And from my perspective, you know, that's not only her job, it's the job of all of us who are supporting her. It's obviously the job of the messaging, the advertising, everything that goes into the final sprint to the election.
What do you think, Vice?
Yes, she is.
I mean, listen, I ran for president and lost, but it's like, and like I can understand, like, you know, so there'll always be a kind of like, you know, an angst that you feel perhaps towards your antagonists.
I will never accept Josh Hawley. Whenever anybody that we know says, I kind of like Josh Hawley, I'm always like, I shut down immediately, and I'm like, I can never say his name.
Well, Hillary Clinton is saying that, you know, everybody who attends Trump rally, you know, is.
And, you know, one other thing that you'll see next week, Caitlin, is Trump actually reenacting the Madison Square Garden rally in 1939. I write about this in my book.
What?
President Franklin Roosevelt was appalled that neo-Nazis, fascists in America were lining up to essentially pledge their support for the kind of government that they were seeing in Germany. So I don't think we can.
Yeah, you know, that he was really famous for wanting to abolish the income tax.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Hitler always cutting regulations and taxes. I mean, Hitler was.
How are we like these people in Madison Square Garden?
Do you remember me telling you the story about the German-American Bund in the interwar period of the years of the? See, she's not.
Slightly.
So here's the thing. So she's not wrong about that historic fact. She's wrong about her guilt by association that she's trying to give Trump.
I don't understand why she's comparing the two.
So in the 1930s, before Germany declared war on the United States,
yes,
there was a giant Nazi rally in New York City, of all places, at Madison Square Garden. And there are pictures of them, and I could pull it up here on the screen. You know, I'm probably doing a little bit, but there are pictures here. Let's go to camera 4 while we hang out, or 3, of George Washington, giant posters of George Washington and American Nazis who wanted the United States to come in to support Germany. They were Hitler fans, and they were Americans, and they were, you know, German. Many of them had German ties, and they wanted the United States to come into World War II on the side of Germany, rather than the side of the United Kingdom and of France, in the Allies, right? So that was their view.
Sure.
So the America First movement of the 1930s was in the United States was more explicitly. I mean, I would say more explicitly anti-Semitic, but I mean, Nazis are Nazis no matter what, right? And Jews are always the primary like motivator of their hatred and their conspiracy theories.
Mm-hmm.
But the German-American Bund was a society that gathered together a fairly large crowd and marched with swastikas. And they said George Washington was our first fascist, right? He was.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think he was our first fascist. Do you?
It really depends. To ask a question like that is if you're serious about a question like that, not just having some like esoteric assault debate, then you ask yourself, what are the tenets of fascism? Fascism is that private control but government planning. So it's like the government can nationalize your industry at any point. And they frequently do.
It's more like socialism.
You have to it is National Socialism. So essentially the Marxist communism is to have the state produce the car.
Yes, the state owns everything.
The state directs.
In socialism, it's private, or no. Yeah, in socialism it's private.
In fascism, fascism and socialism have similar tenets and run-throughs. In fascism, you'll have a private actor who will create cars like a Porsche, right? The people who created the VW example for the Bug. They do it at Hitler's bidding. So it's kind of like if you could say that there is something fascist that Donald Trump did, the left would never admit this because they support it. But during the pandemic, Donald Trump required the corporations to create ventilators, emergency equipment. That is the definition of fascism.
Yeah.
When the
Yeah.
government directs private production and tells the company what to produce.
What would happen if the company said no? What
Under
would he have done?
Hitlerian
Yes.
fascism, what would happen is what happened to the Junkers airplane factory. So all of the airplanes that were manufactured by the Nazi regime had been manufactured to a certain point by a man named Junkers.
Okay.
And Junkers eventually refused to cooperate with the regime, the Hitler's regime. And so Hitler, this is a fascinating bit of history.
I never heard of this.
So this is in
cool.
that book, the Economics of Disaster, that I read, that has, it's like the making of the Nazi economy.
Okay.
And so Junkers airplane factory, when he refused to collaborate with the Nazis anymore, they took over his factory, but they didn't call it nationalization, which is what it was. They called it privatization. So communists.
How is that privatization?
It's not
when the government's
privatization.
taking over something.
Correct. It's not. It's
opposite.
It's nationalization.
Yeah.
You're nationalizing an industry. It now is a state-run industry.
You know, the
Right.
Nazis were known to change words up, change
Right.
the definitions.
Right. They did that. It was a lie, and the communists and the socialists, like the Marxists, seized on that lie to suggest that privatization was fascism, when in reality, privatization is libertarianism. If Trump were Hitler,
It's capitalism.
if Trump were Hitler, what he would do is he would propose the nationalization of industries. He would have the government take over the business. Like, the government should run Tesla. The government should run General Motors. The government should run this, right?
Kind of like what was happening in Argentina. The government ran the airlines.
Right. And so socialism, fascism, Nazism, communism, all those isms at the extreme end of the spectrum, they all sit on the opposite side of the spectrum of liberty, libertarianism, individualism, classical liberalism, right? It's really about authoritarianism and big government down to the point of anarchy with zero government, right?
The liberals are hating on themselves right now. They're hating a person. I thought they like communism. I thought they liked socialism.
Well, they do, and they are. And there's a spectrum. So within the Democratic Party are different segments, just like there are in the Republican Party. Quest Fanning dropped $5. Says fascism solves the problem of socialism, forcing people to work to provide the resources that are needed for socialism. Right. So communists like Bernie Sanders will be like, it's a voluntary commune of socialist republics, like federated, blah, blah, blah.
Voluntary.
Right.
Sure.
But here's the thing. He got kicked out of his hippie commune because he didn't work. And
was he part of a
He was part of a hippie commune, and he got kicked out because he didn't work. So the thing is that he can't even operate under the system that he is advocating for. The reality is that there's always some, like Leon Trotsky, who was like one of the founders of Soviet communism. He was eventually murdered by Stalin. He was the kind of useful idiot for Stalin. So he basically centralized power, violently took over, and then started implementing communism, and then Stalin killed him. Bernie Sanders, I've always said, is like a Trotsky. He's like the ideas guy who's a nerd.
Right.
Eventually, when he centralizes enough power, somebody who's actually strong will step in, murder him, and then take control and take the power, right?
Yeah.
So these are big brain conversations for a Freedom Family Friday, and I don't know if you enjoy these kinds of talks.
It's very interesting.
I find it interesting, of course.
Like tying it back to history.
Me too. If you enjoy the Wake Up America show, we'd love to have you be a regular guest joining us Mondays through Fridays, 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. So if you would click that like button and follow us, it's Mondays through Fridays, 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. It's a great way to start your day, and we'd love to have you again join us. You can also send us a text message at 573-319-1586. Again, the text lines are always open, and you can text me anytime that you like. It can be night or day. You might be listening to the audio version of the podcast later, and we'd love to hear your ideas of what you think we should be talking about on the show. Send me a text at 573-319-1586. Again, 573 573-319-1586. Wow, there's a lot of text messages.
Are you kidding me?
Of text messages this morning.
Really?
Yes.
What are they talking about?
Well, it's from like last night and things like that. So people are sending me pictures and stuff. I don't have time to hop onto that. And we're already running behind on time this morning because we have to exit the studio at 8:30 today. So we only have an hour left on the show. So don't be too mad at us. But please do get those Rumble rants in to help unlock the bonus content. And if we can hit $100, which I kind of think it might be dubious, but if we hit $100, then we can unlock the bonus baby. So visit forlibertyshop.com.
Oh, I have.
Oh, Stephanie, hold on. Yes, let me pull it up.
Excited about.
Let me pull it up on the screen. She's very excited. She worked very hard. What is it, Steffi?
They're called Pulos.
Yes.
So get it? Pew pew. So they are gun-shaped pillows. And we have a revolver, an M1911 pistol, an AK-47, and an AR-15 so far. But we are going to be adding a grenade launcher, grenade launcher, and more guns and like libertarian symbols, anarchy symbols. So you can cuddle up with some really awesome guns.
So imagine like somebody comes over to your house to visit and you've got an AK-47, realistic looking AK-47 pillow. They're probably going to do a double take because it looks kind of real, you know?
Oh yeah. They're going to be like, what is...
They'll like look at that. They'll be like, excuse me, is that an AK-47? It's like, oh, it's a pillow. You know what I mean? It's like,
you have to buy one for your dad because he likes to keep his gun on the couch in random places. So maybe he should keep his gun underneath the gun pillow so that we know where it's located.
They're like, that's the last place that expect is the gun underneath the gun pillow. They're like, they would never hide a gun under the gun pillow. You know what I'm saying?
So you can literally sleep with your gun and feel safe. Don't a lot of people sleep with their guns under their pillows? Absolutely.
Here's the thing. The Pulo collection is brand new today. If you guys get this and this is at your house and you have guests, your visitors are just going to be like, this is so awesome. Or you know what? It's actually a good test to see if your guest is cool or not. If somebody comes over your house and pulls a Karen and is like, guns, and you'd be like, get out of my house. Get out of my house.
Oh, yeah, I really enjoy making them. And there's not a lot of stuff out there that's like this.
No, for sure. Andy Opperman just unlocked the first stage of the bonus content for Liberty.
He donated $50.
He did.
$60.
$50.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But Latrell had donated $20, and then Quest, I think, did $5. So we definitely have hit the bonus content there. Thank you, Andy.
Andy, we love you.
Yeah. So it's like
so good to see you recently.
Yeah. So if we raise like about $40 more by the end of the show, which is an hour from now, then that will unlock the bonus baby. You guys can see little baby Hazel. Wouldn't that be fun?
She's so big. I really feel like she's older than she is.
Yes. So we have to be out of the studio today. The governor's coming in. It's going to be an exciting day for Scott Fong.
Like Hazel's actually already in the way.
In the studio, the handsome fellow who runs the Missouri Times building here that we get to use in the mornings. The studio.
Like people walking around. Hazel.
Yeah, they're all getting ready. They're all getting ready. It's a big
busy
day.
Studio, you guys.
It is. It's a big day, and we're excited for them. Hopefully, we can get a picture with the next governor of Missouri with the baby, so that she can get a little good luck. It's always good luck when they get the politician kisses.
Hazel might be a politician one day. I could see it.
Yes. Very exciting for Scott Fawn, and we appreciate him letting us use the studio. You can, again, text us at 573-319-1586 and let us know what's on your mind. Don't forget, visit forlibertyshop.com, guys. Get yourself some sweet, sweet juice. Wheeze in the juice. Oh, this is so funny. Bill Clinton is out there as a surrogate for Kamala Harris. The Democrats have trotted him out, and he's out there in Arizona saying things like this.
Running against someone who is physically attractive but believes that politics is a performance art. Running against
Bill Clinton sounds like RFK Jr., by the way.
A little bit. Well, he's old. He's got an excuse.
His voice is going to the crapper.
But did you catch that?
So he said he's physically attractive.
She's talking about Carrie Lake. He's talking about Carrie Lake, who is the Senate candidate from Arizona.
Oh.
Here's Carrie Lake, and she responded to it. Take a listen.
Oh, we thought he was.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. He's like, what?
No.
What's going on?
No.
Okay.
Here's the clip, and then here's Carrie Lake, the candidate. She's responding to it. Take a listen to this.
Running against someone who is physically attractive.
And then yesterday, I actually woke up this morning and I found out yesterday one of the more familiar Democrats was in town, and his name is Bill Clinton. Hold on. I found out he actually paid me a compliment. He was here campaigning for Ruben Gallego, my cop-hating, open borders, anti-woman opponent. And Bill Clinton, he paid me a compliment. He said I was physically attractive.
It's weird.
I woke up to this news this morning. First of all, you know what? As a middle-aged woman, I'm flattered. I'm flattered, okay? I don't get those kind of compliments every day. Two, I thought I was a little too old for him. Doesn't he like interns?
She's all right.
70 something at this point.
She's a Missouri.
She'd be a catch for
She'd
him.
be a Missouri 7.5.
It's not like Bill Clinton is cute.
Well, Bill,
He's so ugly.
but it doesn't matter. Remember, we talked about how looks don't matter for men as much. It doesn't matter for us.
Bill
It's not-
Clinton or RFK Jr.
Yes, women.
Who would you choose?
RFK Jr. Baby, yeah.
Kennedy is still more powerful than a Clinton.
Now here's the question: would you rather, as a man, as a right-wing man, would you rather sleep with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Or with Hillary Clinton?
Oh, well,
yes.
probably Hillary Clinton.
Hillary Clinton.
Here's the thing. I'm sure if she let loose, let her hair down, took off that pantsuit, she might be kind of fun. She'd be like Martha Stewart.
How dare you?
I see her as, like a Martha Stewart in the sheets.
No, somebody call the cops here. Hold on. FBI, will call the police. No, it's the Wake Up America show. We better.
I've been compared to their daughter Chelsea many a time, so.
Oh, Stephanie, no.
I've gotten used to just being a Clinton.
No, Stephanie, no. All right, listen, we got the bonus content. We don't have a lot of time today, so we should play it.
Okay.
So they can see it. They unlocked it. Thank you, guys. We'll be right back.
Live the baby.
Enjoy the bonus content. We'll be right back on the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network. Wake Up America show's bonus content. Financial contributions like yours have turned us into a thriving small business, growing libertarian ideas and supporting freedom families like the Petersons. Today's bonus content? If you're worried about fascism, worry about war, in recent discussions, concerns have resurfaced about former President Donald Trump's alleged praise of Adolf Hitler. These reports fit the narrative of Trump as a potential dictator, but they overshadow a crucial historical lesson. War often sets the stage for fascism to flourish. The rise of Nazi Germany was intricately linked to the aftermath of World War I. The war's end saw Germany engulfed in chaos, with a revolution that led to the downfall of the emperor. This turmoil provided fertile ground for extremist ideologies. The Weimar Republic, Germany's fledgling democracy, struggled amidst political violence. Intense battles between leftist and right-wing factions created widespread bitterness, contributing to the infamous stab-in-the-back myth, which falsely accused certain groups of betraying Germany during the war. This myth evolved into a dangerous anti-Semitic conspiracy. The assassination of Jewish Foreign Minister Walter Rathenau fueled nationalist paranoia, wrongly portraying him as a traitor. Such sentiments were pivotal in Hitler's rise as he capitalized on these fears and prejudices. Militarism played a central role in Nazi ideology. Hitler, deeply scarred by Germany's wartime experiences, was obsessed with securing resources, fearing reliance on imports that had previously weakened the nation. This obsession drove the expansionist and genocidal policies of the Nazis. Likewise, Italy's Benito Mussolini, though on the victorious side of World War I, harnessed nationalist grievances over unmet territorial demands. His rise was fueled by a veterans' movement seeking to rectify perceived injustices, showing how war discontent fosters dictatorial ambitions. Fascism is not merely the quest for power. It arises in societies disillusioned by war outcomes. While not all war-weary societies turn fascist, militarism is a common thread among those that do. War destabilizes societies, creating openings for authoritarian figures to exploit. The complacency following smaller conflicts can lead to unpreparedness for major wars. Similar to pre-World War I Europe, America's forever wars have left the nation vulnerable to large-scale conflict, as military planners warn of high casualties in a potential war with China. The prospect of war brings the reality of chaos. Military and medical resources would be stretched thin, resulting in unprecedented domestic disruptions. This includes commandeering resources and possibly classifying civilian casualty information to maintain strategic advantages. The imagined scenarios of modern warfare often overlook the grim realities of a drawn-out conflict. The jokes about a new draft mask the potential for societal panic and the erosion of civil liberties, echoing the chaos seen in past wartime political shifts. War, while not guaranteed to lead to dictatorship, creates conditions ripe for authoritarian rule. It disrupts societies, causing fear and desperation that can be exploited by those seeking power. Understanding this link is crucial to preventing the rise of fascism today. Preventing war is paramount for safeguarding democracy. It requires acknowledging the historical connections between conflict and the emergence of totalitarian regimes. Those who fear the return of fascism must prioritize efforts to avert war and promote peaceful resolutions. In conclusion, the lessons from history highlight the dangers of ignoring the ties between militarism and fascism. Remaining vigilant against war and its potential to destabilize societies is essential in preserving democratic values and preventing authoritarian takeovers. The narrative around figures like Trump should not distract from the broader, more pressing issue, the conditions that historically lead to fascism. Preventing war and its chaos is a fundamental step in ensuring that such ideologies do not gain a foothold once more. Ultimately, the focus should remain on creating stable, peaceful societies. By understanding how past wars paved the way for dictatorships, we can better guard against repeating those mistakes and foster a future resistant to the allure of authoritarianism. Good morning, I'm Austin Peterson. Welcome to the Wake Up America show. It's time to rise and freedom. Fridays are Freedom Family Fridays here on the Wake Up America show. I bring my smoking hot, redheaded libertarian wife, Steffi, on the show.
Hello, good morning.
How you doing, beautiful?
Well, I'm doing great. I'm looking forward to this weekend, honestly. We're going to be carving some pumpkins with our friends tonight.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
Casey's going to carve a pumpkin for the very first time. I think we're going to do that thing where you stick the baby inside the pumpkin and take a picture.
Yes. Frickety donated $10 to it in the pumpkin.
Cute, Frickety.
Frickety said, since we've been talking about taxes, AP, what are your thoughts on the fair tax idea written in books by Neil Bortz? Oh, God. If I had a dime for every time somebody asked that question when I was running for office.
Tax versus fair tax.
Flat tax versus fair tax. It's just like, oh, man. I know. I love Neil Bortz. I get it, right? And I understand the desire to move to something like a fair tax. Gary Nolan, he's for it. I just like the idea of a flat tax, and it just everybody pays the same flat tax. Ron Paul,
a certain percentage,
Ron
right?
Paul, Paul used to, we're talking about Ron Paul this morning. Ron Paul used to say that he wanted the income tax to be real flat. Like
Zero,
yes, exactly. Yeah.
Well, so does Trump. He wants the income tax to be zero as well.
Question from Dad Broad Baboon says, Steffi for Liberty, do you guys have any pets?
Oh, yes.
We do.
Yes, we do. We have 2 French bulldogs.
Yes, we do. They're very cute.
George and Calvin. George is 3, Calvin is 5. And they are amazing. And they're great with Hazel, too.
They are, yeah. They're good dogs, and we love them very much. Part of our family. And we're glad that you're here with us as part of Freedom Family Friday. But yeah, we were talking about Ron Paul and the income tax earlier. He was praising Donald Trump for wanting to abolish the income tax, replace it with tariffs. I like that idea. It's not the best idea. I like Ron Paul's idea a little better, but I'm willing to compromise.
So basically, we will be paying for all of that through buying groceries. When we buy groceries, the prices will be elevated. And so that's where all of our money's going to go.
Right.
Rather than to the income tax.
Right. Exactly.
It just goes to another place.
Yeah. Income
It's
tax.
diverted somewhere else.
Yeah. So, and we're seeing that a lot more libertarians are getting on board the Donald Trump campaign, which it's nice to see.
I'm waiting for Ron Paul to endorse Trump.
That would be
Not
big.
gonna lie.
That would be big. He doesn't endorse very lightly, right? It's the, because he actually didn't endorse Ronald Reagan for his second term in office because he endorsed him for the first one, but not the second one, the president. So
Wow.
Ron can be quite
I'm
picky.
curious who Ron has endorsed in the past in terms of president. So he has endorsed Ronald Reagan.
Mhm.
Did he ever endorse Gary Johnson?
No.
No. Okay, no. I know they like
yes,
each other. They were nice to each other.
Okay, actually, so this is like Ron's like his endorsements were always really strange. So in 2008 he endorsed every third party candidate.
Okay.
So including the Green Party, the Socialists, the Communists, all of them. He endorsed
Jill
all
Stein?
of them. Yes, yeah. Whoever was running in 2008 as an
Okay.
independent, he endorsed all of them. And anybody but John McCain and Barack Obama.
Right.
And then Bob Barr pissed him off. And I was there that day when it happened.
Right, because you were working for Bob Barr.
I was working for Bob Barr,
Mhm.
and Bob Barr pissed Ron Paul off and said, what are you doing? You should endorse the libertarian. You're a libertarian. Endorse the libertarian candidate. Why are you endorsing these socialists and these
That
communists?
doesn't make sense. Exactly.
It didn't make any sense at all. I was confused as hell.
He's a lifetime libertarian.
I was at the National Press Club in Washington, D.C.,
Mhm.
young, 23, 4, 5, 6 years old, something. And I had no idea of politics. I'm just helping passing out the pamphlets and trying to be, and Reason Magazine is there. There's all the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, New York Post. Every reporter in the freaking world is there at the press con. Yeah, it's huge. And Bob Barr pissed off Ron Paul and didn't show up to the press conference that he was supposed to be there because he wasn't going to stand on the stage with like Jill Stein and all the communists who were running and have Ron Paul endorse all of them and not Bob Barr. So Bob was like, I'm just going to hold my own press conference next door. Ron Paul's people got pissed, and I was the only one who's there because I was the one who showed up on time. They didn't tell me. This is a big story. They didn't tell me that they were not going to show up on time at the Ron Paul press conference. I thought we were going to have this kumbaya moment. And I was so excited to see Ron Paul, who's my hero, right?
So you're there at the Ron Paul place.
I'm at the Ron Paul rally, the thing in the morning at the press club, ready to rock.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I'm setting out the Bob Barr pamphlets. Ron Paul's assistant, and he apologized for this later and all this kind of stuff. It's big today, whatever. But like at the time, I'm like, why is this guy taking all my pamphlets and throwing them away in front of all the press? And the press was like looking at all the stage, and then all of a sudden the press, all the cameras started turning towards me.
So you must be on a TV channel somewhere.
There's like one quote from 2008 you can read from a Reason Magazine article.
Yes.
Where it says Libertarian Party activist Austin Peterson was stated as saying, I don't know why people are so angry. I feel like I'm the fall guy. They were mad at me. The Ron Paul people were mad at me. I had nothing to do with it. I had no idea. I had no idea.
People seem to have a theme of throwing things away that you're giving.
I know.
Your pamphlets,
I know.
just throw everything in the trash.
I have been so mistreated.
Yeah, I'm surprised you don't have a fear of trash cans, to be quite honest.
Garbage cans, like garbage guns.
Yeah.
Yeah. Will Run Riot donated $5. Thanks, Will. He says late to the chat. He's been lurking while he works. Just lurking while he works. Can you bless me with something?
And you take the broom.
Yes, and you take the broom, not me, because I'm Snow White and I'm not working.
I'm a girl boss wearing a blazer.
That's right. Exactly.
How dare you?
How dare you consider a woman to do such manual labor? We are meant to rule. Rule, damn it, rule. Beautiful, smoking hot, redheaded, libertarian wifey of Austin Peterson on the Wake Up America show. Austin's fate to have his gifts thrown out. Not you, Stephanie. You love my gifts.
Oh, I do.
Look at that.
I'm wearing
Look
one
at your
of
beautiful
gifts.
anniversary gift that you have
Our
right there.
anniversary gift.
Isn't that
you
beautiful,
talked about my
sweetie?
gift yesterday, and now I'll talk about your gift today. So this is an aquamarine necklace. Very beautiful. I'm a March baby.
Yes, you are.
And it's such a pretty color,
Gorgeous.
and it matches everything.
Beautiful blue. Yes, my wife got her, so she got it nice and early in the morning for anniversary week. Thanks, guys, for all your generosity.
4:30 in the morning, and you were taking pictures, and I look absolutely terrible.
No. So I've had some adventures. I've been through a thing or two with the presidential stuff, and
Never heard that story before. That is so sad. So then, did you end up going to Bob Barr's rally
I
after
went to
that?
Bob's later, and I was working for him, so I was kind of like, my bosses. I was kind of like, "Yo, guys, what the hell?" Like,
There were no cell phones back then?
yeah, there were, but they just didn't think about it. They just didn't text me. You know what I mean? They didn't think, hey, because they were pissed about what was going on. It was a gigantic cluster truck, right? And then I was kind of mad at everybody, to be honest. I felt a little like mistreated, and I was, you start to realize what politics really is, which is everybody covering their own ass, and you need to cover your own ass in reality. So it's a different.
You lost your spark of excitement.
No, I'm still excited. I never lost my spark of excitement. But you know how they say never meet your heroes?
Yeah.
I've met almost everyone that I look up to, and they all leave something to be desired. Every one of them. Every one of them, they're human beings. And if you see and you meet your heroes, and just let me not disabuse of any notion, I'm not perfect either, right? And that it can be quite disappointing to meet your heroes, unfortunately.
Yeah, I have yet to meet Thomas Massey and Ron Paul, but I think I'll just wait forever for that.
That's probably best. You know what I mean? It's better sometimes for them to exist as the ideal to a certain extent, to have something to aspire to, right? It's better, it's better in some contexts because when I was thinking about TJ Roberts running for office the other day and putting his name in the line and stuff like that, there's just, you can't, if you really make a serious run for office and you become a real threat, you'll make real enemies and you'll deal with realities of yourself that people will expose, of course, the worst of you to everywhere, and they'll shine up the mirror of self-reflection. So if you haven't self-reflected, you better be ready to face your own demons, because other people will make you face your own demons.
Yeah.
So I've done that, right? And you see that it's kind of like, you have to, quoting Nietzsche here, right? If you stare too long in an abyss, the abyss will stare back. You have to be careful about the mirror self-reflection. You can be narcissistic with the reflection, and you could say you like what you see a little too much.
Yeah.
And some people become self-obsessed and self-absorbed in the things like that.
Or I'm sure it could make you really depressed when people are pointing out all your flaws.
Absolutely.
And that's all you're reminded about every single day.
Yes. Try not to put people too much on a pedestal. Yeah, Latrell, you see, the thing is that I think the libertarian movement is what we suffered from a long time, and this kind of brings us back to the whole libertarians jumping on Trump train for recently, is that, like, I think that the liberty movement had become a cult of personality.
Yeah.
And unfortunately it fell when that personality started to fade from the public view. It devolved. It's kind of like the fall of the Holy Roman Empire. So the second Roman Empire, the Byzantine Empire under Constantine, it was meant to be taken over by his sons, and then as soon as Pippin and they all warred with one another after it was over. There's a really cool Broadway musical that's about the sons of Constantine. It's called Pippin. It's from the 70s. Pip. I was in it in high school. It's kind of a fun little musical, but it's about Charlemagne, Constantine. I get those two confused sometimes.
I would not know.
Check my history on that one.
You know more than I.
We appreciate the Wake Up America show's listeners and viewers this morning. Looks like Liz is a little salty about something. Liz, cheer up. Hey, don't be salty this morning. We need you sweet, Liz. We need the good Liz.
Love you, Liz. You always send me really sweet messages on Facebook.
Dr. Jekyll and Mrs. Liz. Come on, Liz. Brighten up your day. We'll make you feel happy.
She's always supportive of, especially Baby Hazel.
Baby Hazel, yes, I meant Charlemagne legalese. Thank you very much. He's not the god now. Not Charlemagne the god.
Lisa's been in the chat a lot. I noticed him. Hello.
Yes. Joni Rankin says that she met her hero in the entertainment industry, Robin Williams, and he did not disappoint. Yeah, there are some exceptions.
So sad.
Yeah, but the exceptions, of course, prove the rule. That the exceptions to the rule.
We were watching a great show on the Martha Stewart show. Robin Williams was a guest on there, and he was making food with her, and he was so funny, making all kinds of jokes, and it just showed how goofy he really was as a person.
Yeah.
He was able to just get into all these different roles immediately. Great at improv.
I think that the liberty movement has had Israel derangement syndrome for quite some time. I think that's a big problem. A lot of libertarians are too afraid to call out people like Dave Smith or Clint Russell when they have their blind spots. And so now they're all like endorsing Trump, and it's kind of like they're being celebrated for it. But they're not. But it's because it's kind of becomes like a clique. It becomes that cult of personality, right? People who were desperate for something to believe in, and when Ron Paul steps down, they kind of latch on to other personalities, right, in the same way.
I mean, Ron Paul's views, I took those as like my Bible.
Right.
I was like, if Ron Paul thinks this, I think this.
Same.
And I would literally like refer to his books.
Same.
To say what I
like
believe.
A Bible. Like a Bible. Yeah, like a religion. And it becomes a cult.
Yes. And so that's what people are, they're using Dave Smith as their Bible now.
Yeah, to some extent, right? And Dave has done that with Scott Horton from antiwar.com.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so if Scott Horton says it, then we get our foreign policy from one person, right, whose wife is a communist.
Really?
And who works at antiwar.com that is full of communists, and they share about 90% of their foreign policy views with communists.
Interesting.
Which is, it's a guilt by association fallacy, right? There are differences between, of course, Dave Smith and Clint Russell and Scott Horton and the communists.
Right.
The communists are not going to
someone's friend doesn't mean you are them.
Right. But there is something sus about the foreign policy when you just happen to also be siding with them 99 times out of 100.
A lot of people in the libertarian circles like Scott Horton.
A lot of them, they love Scott Horton, right? They love Scott Horton. But Scott Horton is the perfect example of someone who is a flim-flam man that sounds very intelligent. But have you ever heard of the word sophistry? Do you know what a sophist? Someone who engages in sophistry?
I've heard of it, but I don't
it's someone
know exactly.
It's someone who says things that are untrue in a beautiful way.
Oh, like Kamala Harris.
Right. Well, not even. She's more of word salad than sophistry. Like she doesn't even impress with her interviews, right? But like Scott Horton, what he does is he commits the fallacies of things. He does things like a gish gallop, for example. He'll talk over someone.
Okay.
And then he'll give you so much information, and some of it will be true and some of it will be false, and he's just throwing it at the wall until...
I think you've demonstrated this for me. Is this where you use all these big words and act as if you know exactly what you're talking about?
Right.
And then people are just so captivated by your message that they're like, wow, this must be true.
But he'll say, for example, 3 things that are correct and then 2 things that are wrong. And one thing that's egregiously wrong.
Yes.
But people will say everything. Oh, he's just everything he says is right. He's so big. If he knows so much, foreign policy is such a complicated topic that's why people farm it out to people like Horton. They outsource their thinking on things like foreign policy, and that's how you get these situations where you have someone like it's like they're NPCs, right? So Horton is like the transmitter of the bad information. And then people like Smith and Russell and Ron Paul and Daniel McAdams and others, they repeat the bad information. They repeat the incorrect. They repeat the lies and the smears.
Right.
Because some of them are bad faith actors. Not all of them are bad faith actors. Some of them are stupid, but some of them are evil. And so you have to separate what's really good from bad, who's grifting, who's just taking advantage.
Oh my goodness.
And what you'll notice is that the grifters are going to shift position with where the crowd is at any given point in time.
Absolutely.
The people who really mean the evil shit that they say will tend to stick to it.
Yeah.
Right.
Scott Horton needs to open up a merch shop.
Right. But there was
if he really wants to grift, he needs to do
but
that.
let's not kid ourselves here that there was a lot of evil shit that libertarians said after October 7th and the hostage crisis and the attacks on Israel.
Oh yes.
And they
Some
still
of the people
are.
you debated with.
Yes, of course. Of course. They said a lot of stupid and evil shit.
Yes.
And many of them were quick to hop on board with the communists when many of them found Osama bin Laden's manifesto and read it for the very first time.
Yes, I remember. We read about it on the show here.
Correct. So when they say these things that are stupid or evil, many of them are just repeating what they hear
Because
from Scott
Osama
Horton,
bin
for
Laden
example.
talked a lot about blowback,
Mhm.
and they were like, "See, we were right because we interfered.
Mhm.
We shouldn't intervene.
Right.
Stay out of it."
Right, exactly. Well, and it would be one thing if it were just that,
Yes.
but they pick sides. They pretend to be non-interventionist or neutral, but they have very strong opinions about what Israel should or should not be doing.
I do notice
You
this.
notice this?
Well,
They have
when
very
they
strong
say
opinions
their
about it.
points, they'll post a video of Hamas being killed, of the people out in Gaza, in the Gaza Strip being killed,
Right.
but not. They don't make these statements when they post about the
They
Israelis
didn't
being
support
killed
the
or
hostages.
kidnapped.
They don't say things like maybe they should return the hostages. You know,
Right.
They it's peace, peace, peace. Yeah, now that you're getting your ass
They're like,
whipped.
here's a really sad video of the children in Gaza. We need to stop intervening in the Middle East.
Stephanie, if somebody walked, remember that video we watched of that man who slapped the baby?
Oh yes.
If some swarthy fellow of Middle Eastern descent approached you and my child, and I'm there, and he dared to sniff too close to her, and attacked her anywhere. It attempted to attack her the way that happened in that video.
You would shoot him.
Well, it wouldn't be. I mean, yeah, maybe shooting. I feel like would be too good for him.
He'd be put out of his misery.
But here's the thing: if he attacked the child, slapped the baby, I wouldn't just slap him back.
No.
And if I started to use superior force to what he had initiated, and then he said, "Peace, peace, peace, brother, peace, 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 brother," he would be saying it in a mouth with no teeth, because I would knock everyone out.
He didn't want peace before he slapped the baby.
Scott Horton and his cohorts are evil liars, and they produce a twisted form of history that is cribbed. They've cribbed they've taken their crib sheets from communists, people like Howard Zinn and others who wrote, the history of the People's history of the United States, and others. You can find in their rhetoric the exact same rhetoric as Black Lives Matter activists, the exact same anti-colonialist views, anti-Western views. You'll see many of them.
They love Russia too.
You'll see many like Daniel McAdams, who works for Ron Paul, who is Ron Paul's chief foreign policy guy. You'll see him saying things like, "I support Putin over the United States and Putin's war," and all these things. So it's like they're not acting in good faith. They're not non-interventionists.
Right.
They're pro-Russia. They're anti-West. They hate the United States government far more than they love liberty.
Right.
Right. They don't. It's not about loving liberty. It's about being anti-United States. It's about being America.
They're not America first. That's for sure.
Well, they'll say they're America first, but like the same way that like Nick Fuentes and others say they're America first, when in reality, National Socialism is a European philosophy. It's not these people that wear the cloak. Patriotism is the last refuge of a scoundrel. You ever heard that quote?
No.
So patriotism is the flag that many of these people, they wrap themselves in the flag. There's a lot of people, Republicans, who do this too.
Yeah.
Where it's like, for us, we sell American flags, we sell Americana.
Right.
We really love the United States. We're patriotic American nationalists, libertarian American patriotic nationalists. But some people, for them, they'll wear any flag. Right. They'll sell any flag right to you. It doesn't matter. They don't care. There's no real but for many of these people, they think that they hope, they want the United States they want us to fail. They want us to lose. If there's going to be a World War III, they hope Russia wins, right? They hope that if it's us or them, that it's them. It's that Winston Churchill is the primary evil of World War II and all this kind of stupid shit, this nonsense, the kind of stuff that communists have been saying for years. Like, no, it's not.
They don't just join the communist party.
It's like Ron Paul was deceitful when he talked about Osama bin Laden's reasons for attacking the United States, because it was a sin of omission. Because he said, read Osama bin Laden's letters while you're tracking. Okay, good. I read it.
We did.
We read it. And there's actually more than just they're attacking us because we're over there.
Oh, yeah. They don't like Jews.
They don't like Jews. They don't want us to have anything to do with Jews.
Here in America, they don't like our freedom.
They don't like women having rights. They don't want any of that. So they're not just attacking us because we're over there, Ron.
Yes. Right. That's only one of many reasons.
That's right. And here's the thing. Before we were intervening in the Middle East, do you know who was intervening in American affairs And the libertarians get pissed when I bring this up because I say it over and over and over again.
The Middle East?
In the Middle East, yes. And
Russia's always been inserting
Thomas
themselves and
Jefferson.
spying on
Thomas Jefferson, he loved religion and he had a copy of the Quran. But who did Thomas Jefferson kill the shit out of while he was president of the United States?
Oh, the Barbary
The Muslims.
pirates. Yes.
The Muslims.
Yes.
Yes, he killed Muslims.
That's right.
Yes, he saved.
On the boat.
That's right. He sent Stephen Decatur on the shoals of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli. We will fight our country's battles on the land and air and sea.
You brought up this historical event in your debates, and I
Yes.
remember your debate opponents did not like that.
No, they get mad at that
They're
because
like, this has nothing to do with that.
Every historical incident has something to do with it, but
Why are you talking about history?
the false
Don't talk about history.
don't talk about history, but let's talk about the false flags that happened during Vietnam and with Lyndon Baines Johnson and then 9/11 and all that stuff. It's every history but that history. They want to lionize the founding fathers, but they don't want to deal with the realities the founding fathers had to face, right? And the realities in the modern world is that when if we don't want to be in the United Nations, but we're going to be in it anyway, guess who votes with the United States against the rest of the world damn near every time?
Who votes with the
Which
United
country?
States against the world?
Name the other country that goes to the United Nations and says you to the rest of the world with the United States.
Oh, Israel.
You damn straight Israel does. There's a reason for that.
They're a very great ally.
They are a great ally.
The Jews know that networking is in their best interest.
Yes, Stephanie.
We are
yes.
very good at schmoozing, and that's how we're so connected. So maybe the people in the Middle East just need to learn how to schmooze.
No, they don't know how to.
People will like them better.
No, they are barbarians, okay? And if we stand for the West and we stand for the liberal values of the West, not whether that be decadent or not, I defend Western values over the values of collectivism and totalitarianism and Islamism and Wahhabist terrorist Islam, Islamo-fascists, who have been attacking us since the foundation of the American Republic. There was no Middle East intervention going on by George Washington and Thomas Jefferson.
Right. I mean,
there was no
it was kind of hard to get over there back
Right.
during that time unless you were on a boat. So that was
Right.
the only way to get there.
Right. And our boats were being attacked.
Yes.
But again, the evil that people like Scott and Horton and others spread, or the lies, is that, well, it's America's fault that the Japanese attacked you in World War II, and therefore, like because we had an obligation to
We
sell.
were trying to get Japan to trade with us.
No.
A long time ago.
Well, we were trying to get Japan to trade with us late 1800s.
Yeah.
Commodore Perry, remember, sailed
He
to
came there
Japan.
and he demanded that they trade with us.
Gunboat diplomacy.
Yes.
Right. And that's, you can question Commodore Perry in the late 1800s. But nevertheless, after World War I, Japan got kind of grabby.
Mhm.
Not that Britain wasn't, or that the many countries weren't. They were following, the Americans were in the Philippines, and the Japanese knew that the United States had to be wiped away from the Pacific if the Empire of Japan.
To own the Pacific.
They wanted to own the Pacific. They had plans to
Right.
carve up the entire Pacific, and the United States was there in the Philippines, which we had acquired the German colonies after World War I of the Philippines. There were the Moro Wars and the Philippine Wars. That we had wars with some of the locals there, and there was also the Boxer War remember when we went to the Marine Corps Museum and we saw the boxers, the Chinese boxers who attacked the Marines.
Oh my gosh, we saw so many things there. It sounds familiar, but yeah, you'd have to go into a little more detail for me to remember fully.
Right.
But I guess the libertarians would say, well, we shouldn't have gotten into those wars. And then Japan wouldn't have been
But
mad
that's
at
why
us.
they're stupid, because you're trying to war. First of all you're doing is playing a game of coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Mhm.
You can coulda, shoulda, woulda all the time. But the thing is too, is that like you're not the man in the arena. You're not Harry S. Truman and at the end of 1945 seeing the.
No,
here's
they
the
don't
thing.
like him either.
Do
The
you-
nuclear bomb, hello.
Like I haven't been to Okinawa yet. We've been to Hiroshima.
Yes.
But I'd like to go to Hiroshima, to Okinawa.
Yes.
When Truman saw the way they fought in Okinawa, the Japanese, the Imperial Japans, they didn't they didn't value life the way that we do. Like Japan is now almost a Western nation to some extent, right? To some degrees. They have Western values
because
to some degrees.
They had the American government
after World War
their
II.
entire country.
Correct, right? But without the Second Amendment, though, unfortunately for them. But
yes,
right. But they after we saw what happened in Okinawa. Remember Saipan? How I talked about?
Oh yeah, they're throwing babies into the water.
They're throwing
themselves into the water.
They're throwing their babies into the ocean.
It's terrible.
And the Marines don't know. They can't differentiate from civilians because the Japanese would put themselves in holes and they would not surrender. They would put grenades on their bodies so that when you go to like try and render aid to them, you'd banzai blowing themselves up.
And the Japanese government lied to their own people, saying the American people are coming here and they're going to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't true, and that's why the Japanese people were committing suicide.
Yes, correct, Stephanie. Stephanie, you are amazing.
I learned a lot, and we went to Japan, so I sure hope I remember something from that trip.
No, you did a great job there. And, we've been riffing for a little while on history, but it all matters. All history matters.
It does.
You can't ignore some events and then say, oh, well, this is all that matters, right? Mm-hmm. So like when it comes to the Israel question, it's been a big libertarian blind spot for a long time, right? Mm-hmm. They'll talk about things like the USS Liberty, right? They'll talk about the spies that Israel spies on.
Oh, yes.
And there are legitimate criticisms of Israel.
Netanyahu was a spy.
He was.
Yeah.
What was Mossad. Mm-hmm. But he was really more like special forces than like a typical spy. Mm-hmm. They have spy roles, but he was a war hero. His brother was killed as where they fought together. I believe it was actually a raid. I'm not sure if it was the Entebbe raid, but there was an Israeli raid back in the day that his brother was killed in, and Netanyahu became a hero. And we've watched Netanyahu's debates.
Yes, when he was a young guy.
About when people didn't know that he was kind of Mossad yet. And he talked about the two-state solution and the problems and the conflicts of the Middle East. And it was listening to Netanyahu and not the propaganda, the hate, the left or the right. It was listening to him directly, his discussion about a two-state solution and the questions in that debate that actually got me on his side because I'm able to entertain. Two things can be true, right? We can say that you can have a legitimate libertarian criticism of Israel, and there are like the communist style kibbutzes.
Oh yeah,
like the ones that were attacked on October 7th. Like the way that they do that is really not the most beneficial for thriving. They think it is because they live out in the desert and they're like, we're going to live in a communist style.
And I think they're voluntary
to some extent. Sure. Yeah, nothing's ever. Everybody has to. It's not what I would say an ideal form of government.
And I don't like that Israel forces everyone to be in the military. I don't like that.
Agreed.
Either.
Yeah, I don't agree with that either. And people want to bring that here to the United States. It's like, no, we don't.
No. Even though Switzerland is one of the most happy countries in the world, and they force everyone to be in the military. Yeah, but
they're protected by the Alps, and like the Swiss don't go around pissing people off, but Israel and the United States do. But Javier Milei, the most consequential, highest ever elected libertarian to office, recognizes the realities of foreign policy. And that has, and here's the thing, Trump is even more pro-Israel than Javier Milei. But these same libertarians who criticize Javier Milei are now endorsing Trump.
I wonder if they're going to start liking Javier Milei.
No, you know that they're not. You know they won't.
Would that be
no, they won't, because what's in it for them? What's in it for them, Stephanie? What's in it for them? It's hypocrites, man. No wonder this movement is really falling back these days. We've got to start thinking in different ways. You just wait.
In 6 months from now, they'll be like, oh, yeah, we like Javier Milei.
No. Here, they would like Javier Milei if Javier Milei gave him a speaking gig at a conference.
Come speak at our Bitcoin.
Okay. Yeah. Now we like you. Joni Rankin says, Bibi will go down in history like Churchill, an amazing leader, until they're not, right? So some people will, it's fine to revisit people's legacy. It's fine to criticize Churchill. There's many things to criticize about Winston Churchill and his handling of the Boer War and his handling of the invasion at Gallipoli and some of the decisions he made in World War II. But I mean, he wasn't the primary architect of evil of World War II. It was the guy who was invading other countries,
Oh, yeah.
It was Hitler. Yes, Hitler. Uncle Hitler.
People are all like, stop talking about history. Well, you can't call Trump Hitler.
Yes.
And ignore history.
Yeah.
Don't bring history into the present day if you don't want to talk about history.
Exactly. If you want to talk about Trump being Hitler, then I want to talk about why Thomas Jefferson raised the U.S. Navy to go after the pirates of the shores of Tripoli. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. You can't just be selective about what history you want to talk about.
Correct. Don't forget Korea, things like that. Are you guys enjoying the conversation this morning? There's a lot to discuss.
It's very informative. I'm learning a lot.
We don't normally do this on Fridays, but these things needed to be said. Quest texted in and said, after World War II, Eisenhower wanted to eliminate the Marines and simply have the Navy carry over the Army. But when Alcatraz has a near prisoner takeover in 1946, he could call on the Marines under direct presidential authority to intervene and being badasses. They got the place under control in about 45 minutes.
Visited Alcatraz.
Yeah, we did. We were there 2 years ago?
Just about a year ago, I think.
AP says Joni pushed us past the baby content threshold.
Oh, did she?
We did. Go take the
oh my gosh.
Go take the curtain down because we only got about 15 more minutes anyway.
Okay. Is it okay that she's sleeping,
Yeah,
or do I need to wake her
it's
up?
okay.
Oh,
You don't have
okay.
to wake her up. No, it's just the baby cam. Just make sure the camera's on her face so that we can see her lovely little face. Thank you guys for unlocking the bonus baby. And thanks for letting me know. There it is. But move the camera down a little bit and kind of point it towards her if you can get it on her face. There it is. Oh, little lower. Move the camera itself down a little lower so you can see it. There we go. Pan it down. There you go. Yeah, there it is. Sweet little baby cakes. You're watching the Wake Up America show. I'm your host, Austin Peterson, and my wife, Stephanie Peterson, is joining us live on the set as well. Stephanie is helping me out to produce the show. We had a bit of good luck this week and our anniversary.
Oh, we did. 3-year wedding anniversary.
3-year anniversary, and we've been producing the Wake Up America show now for 2 years. Can you believe it? 2 years.
Time is flying. It really is. We've been through a lot together since I first discovered you in 2016.
2016, you discovered me. A pandemic, we've had conversation. You moved to me, and you're my girlfriend, and all, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. One listener texted in. Nick says, "Hey Austin, my name's Nick. I'm a longtime fan, aspiring right-wing libertarian, and blog and op-ed writer." Well, what's up, Nick? Hey, brother.
Hi.
One of us. He says, "This might be a shameless plug, but would the Libertarian Republic be interested in running a piece about the Democrats' history of fascism? We're also working on a piece for the Indiana LP presidential candidate, Donald Rainwater." Oh, Rainwater. Long live the Ron Paul Revolution. There you go.
Aww.
Good for you, Nick.
Yeah, we still do have the Libertarian Republic.
Yes.
It's a news website.
Yes. LDub78 says, "People do really argue from a point of armchair strategist when it comes to war." Yeah, no, they do. And, armchair strategist, I really feel like, and I've talked about this for years. Remember the video I played for the other day of my speech that I gave from way back in 2016? And Nancy,
Yeah, my dad's wife, she was really interested in it. She's like, I need to watch this later.
It was like an hour-long speech that I gave when I had just announced I was running for president.
Yeah.
And it was about why libertarians need to learn to fight. Mm-hmm. And it was a really kind of, metaphor and history to talk about how we can't be passive, right? Or the non-aggression principle, I feel like, and this extreme pacifism that you get from Scott Horton and others and things like that, has led the libertarian movement to decay because we don't have a fighting spirit. That don't tread on me, the Gadsden flag.
Yeah, they're like, leave me alone. I just want to sit in my basement.
Or tread on me all you want, Daddy. I just, blah, 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 right? Where's the spirit of rebellion? There has to be violence that is counter-violence to the violence that is happening to us on a regular basis. There has to be some basis for the use of force that doesn't involve me waiting for you to initiate it necessarily, right? And that's a gray area, right? And I'm not advocating for George W. Bush preemptive strike, but I kind of am, because preempt means to come before something. So if I know that you're a threat and I see that you're going to pull a gun on me, I'm not going to wait for you to point it at me. I'm not going to sit around and try and figure out if it's a toy gun.
Right.
I'm not going to try and disarm and go to somewhere safe. I'm just going to pull out my gun and shoot you first.
It should be like, if we knew that Hitler was planning all these evil things, should we have gone in before he did the evil things?
Maybe. Well, here's the thing. The
Preemptively?
answer is
When he had all the
I-
camps all set up?
I think to some extent the answer is yes, because like the question is like you can have an infinite regress on that question and say would you go back in time and kill baby Hitler?
Right. I've heard that discussion as well.
And so I think that the answer to would you kill baby Hitler in theory should be no.
Well, because it's tabula rasa, right?
Well, right. Well, that is one question, right? But then there's just this. The truth is that Hitler was not a great general. He was not a good military leader. He was actually a very poor military leader. And National Socialism, maybe it wouldn't have gotten as big if it weren't for Hitler, but it probably would have. You would have the anti-Semitism and the socialism of Germany and Austria and Prussia and all that kind of stuff. It may have come to power with more charismatic and more capable individuals than Adolf Hitler.
And we've talked about that would not be good.
No, it would have been terrible.
We would not want that.
No, you would not have wanted Hitler. Like Hitler may have actually been the perfect person to have in that position because he stayed in all the way to the end and making bad decision.
Such a big ego.
One bad decision after another, and therefore we probably might have been better off with him if things would have turned out very differently if you had someone like a Heinz Guderian or if Hermann Goering wasn't such a drug addict, and he was very persuasive, or if Ernst Röhm, the gay guy that they killed in the Night of the Long Knives, right? If some capable commander of men, rather than Adolf Hitler, had come to power, or if they had killed like Stauffenberg, that one, remember the movie with Tom Cruise? Mm-hmm. If Stauffenberg had successfully killed Hitler, think about it. You could have had a Hermann Goering. You could have had Heinrich Himmler, the architect of the final solution, taking over, or maybe even someone like Admiral Dönitz of the Navy. I've been watching all these like submarine strategy session games from the war games they played in World War II.
Yeah.
And reading about that history, they could have had Admiral Dönitz, who was the head of the submarines and the head of the fleet, in charge of he was actually next in line after Hitler. If a capable military commander had taken over, we could have seen a lot different results.
That's true.
So you can't. I think it's never good to go coulda, shoulda, woulda too much, because it's an infinite regress. If this, then that. If this, and then it opens up all these other possibilities. Right. That is, I think, a libertarian weak spot. Because rather than looking forward to what we can change in the future, because it requires, why it happens, because people have to change their now.
Yeah, and
we don't want to change our now.
They're too weak to change their now.
They're too weak to change their now.
Unmotivated.
Because here's the thing: people don't change their minds and take action on something until they have to.
Yes.
And at this point, it's kind of like with Dave Smith or Clint Russell or some of these guys who are kind of like now they're jumping on board the Trump train. It's kind of like, yeah, they had to, right? It's like, are you going to really vote for Chase Oliver? Like, of course you're not going to do it, right? But they're waiting along.
Yeah, when something makes them uncomfortable enough.
When people are uncomfortable,
like, okay, I guess I'll
jump on board. That's how most people are.
That's the perfect philosophy for libertarians, the nap, because they're so lazy that they're like, just come to me. Yeah, well, I'm just going to sit on the couch.
It's very passive. It's very passive, right? It's a reactive to things that are happening.
That's why libertarians are lazy.
We fall back.
Libertarianism attracts those types of people.
And everybody wants to be the star. Nobody wants to set up the tables. Nobody wants to be the guy like me at the table handing out the pamphlet,
having them thrown in the
trash and all that kind of stuff. They just want to have the speaking gig and go home.
They want to be the person throwing the things in the trash.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But like the thing is that we have to be more active. We have to be less reactive. We have to be more active. We have to be more preemptive, less passive, more aggressive. And this is not how like many of the people who are the leaders of the libertarian movement like to move.
No.
But
that's why they're not successful.
But here's the thing: Walter Block, was right about Trump. About libertarians should support Trump.
Oh.
Yeah. And Walter Block got read out of the libertarian movement, removed from Mises, all this kind of stuff because of Israel.
Goodness.
But now
look, they're voting
they're all voting for the most Israel pro-Israel.
They're going to welcome him back.
We should. Do you guys think they're going to welcome back Walter Block?
Walter, come speak at a Mises Institute event.
Walter, we were so wrong. We were so wrong. Because I don't think you probably noticed, but maybe those who watch on Wednesdays, that I've been slowly whittling the
big brain time.
Yeah, with the judge. But I've been slowly whittling the judge down. On this issue,
I know you challenge him quite a bit.
Challenge him on this thing, right? Yes. Because he's like, I don't know why Emily supports Israel. I think it's because he's Jewish. Yeah, he's not Jewish.
No, he's not. He wants to be Jewish.
Where did you hear that? Where did you hear that he was Jewish?
Did somebody tell you that? Jewish before.
I have, from people who hate him, and who lie about him, and who spread lies about him.
I mean, it's quite obvious he's not Jewish.
But listen. the truth is out there. You can find the truth. Okay? Right? Don't just spread something because somebody that you like on a podcast said it. Ironically enough, I'm saying the truth is out there. Okay. Don't, and the thing about like the Israel and stuff like that, they're not going to invite Walter back in. You know why? Because he embarrassed them.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Because he embarrassed them.
Yeah.
And
they don't like people that are right.
Because Thomas Sowell said, people will forgive you for being wrong.
Yeah.
But they will never forgive you for being right, especially if those circumstances proved them wrong.
Ah, look at that. You're so good.
Stephanie, I love you.
Oh, I love you.
We probably pissed a lot of people off with this conversation today.
You think so? Are they angry in the chat?
Maybe. Maybe. But
truth hurts.
I can't. It hurts. For the truth will set you free, but first it will piss you off.
That's right.
Stephanie, where can people go to get your amazing Pulos?
Oh my goodness. Go to forlibertyshop.com. They're right there on the top of the page. You can't miss them. And you deserve to cuddle up with your favorite weapon.
With your little pews, AR-15 shaped pillows. Pulos! You can get the AK-47, the M1911, the revolver shaped Pulos, the Pulos collection by Stephanie.
Hazel a Pulo.
You can get her a
mini Pulo.
Yes, forlibertyshop.com.
Babies can play with them. Children can play with them.
That's right.
They're safe.
That's right. Number 4, libertyshop.com. Head over there this morning. Grab yourself a big Pulo. Get yourself the gun that you like. And if you are happy with the selection, please write positive reviews of the items that you buy at the shop, guys. We really could use more 5-star reviews on our shop. So if you go over there,
I love when you all take pictures of the things that you get.
Oh yes, like Nelson.
Yes, because we haven't ordered all the things on our shop before, so we haven't seen them like in person in front of our eyes. So if you can show us what they look like and show everybody else, that would be great.
Yes. So head to forlibertyshop.com. That's the number 4, libertyshop.com. Cecilia, get yourself an AK-47 if that's your thing.
We're gonna
go make some rock. We're gonna make a rocket launcher. There's baby Hazel on the baby cam. There she is, cutie. We're gonna have to end the show here early today, guys, and I apologize for those who are sad about it, but we've got the governor. We gotta get out of here. Stephanie, I love you. You're a beautiful woman and the love of my life. Happy anniversary to you. Happy anniversary week.
Oh. So amazing. I still feel like I'm in a dream.
Stephanie, is there anything else that you want to say to the good people of the country of the United States before we go?
I would like to say, be free.
Thanks, guys. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you guys on Monday on the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network. Bye, guys. Let's dance.
4LN.
Wake Up America show's bonus content. Financial contributions like yours have turned us into a thriving small business, growing libertarian ideas and supporting freedom families like the Petersons. Today's bonus content? If you're worried about fascism, worry about war. In recent discussions, concerns have resurfaced about former President Donald Trump's alleged praise of Adolf Hitler. These reports fit the narrative of Trump as a potential dictator, but they overshadow a crucial historical lesson. War often sets the stage for fascism to flourish. The rise of Nazi Germany was intricately linked to the aftermath of World War I. The war's end saw Germany engulfed in chaos, with a revolution that led to the downfall of the emperor. This turmoil provided fertile ground for extremist ideologies. The Weimar Republic, Germany's fledgling democracy, struggled amidst political violence. Intense battles between leftist and right-wing factions created widespread bitterness, contributing to the infamous stab-in-the-back myth, which falsely accused certain groups of betraying Germany during the war. This myth evolved into a dangerous anti-Semitic conspiracy. The assassination of Jewish Foreign Minister Walter Rathenau fueled nationalist paranoia, wrongly portraying him as a traitor. Such sentiments were pivotal in Hitler's rise as he capitalized on these fears and prejudices. Militarism played a central role in Nazi ideology. Hitler, deeply scarred by Germany's wartime experiences, was obsessed with securing resources, fearing reliance on imports that had previously weakened the nation. This obsession drove the expansionist and genocidal policies of the Nazis. Likewise, Italy's Benito Mussolini, though on the victorious side of World War I, harnessed nationalist grievances over unmet territorial demands. His rise was fueled by a veterans' movement seeking to rectify perceived injustices, showing how war discontent fosters dictatorial ambitions. Fascism is not merely the quest for power, it arises in societies disillusioned by war outcomes. While not all war-weary societies turn fascist, militarism is a common thread among those that do. War destabilizes societies, creating openings for authoritarian figures to exploit. The complacency following smaller conflicts can lead to unpreparedness for major wars. Similar to pre-World War I Europe, America's forever wars have left the nation vulnerable to large-scale conflict, as military planners warn of high casualties in a potential war with China. The prospect of war brings the reality of chaos. Military and medical resources would be stretched thin, resulting in unprecedented domestic disruptions. This includes commandeering resources and possibly classifying civilian casualty information to maintain strategic advantages. The imagined scenarios of modern warfare often overlook the grim realities of a drawn-out conflict. The jokes about a new draft mask the potential for societal panic and the erosion of civil liberties, echoing the chaos seen in past wartime political shifts. War, while not guaranteed to lead to dictatorship, creates conditions ripe for authoritarian rule. It disrupts societies, causing fear and desperation that can be exploited by those seeking power. Understanding this link is crucial to preventing the rise of fascism today. Preventing war is paramount for safeguarding democracy. It requires acknowledging the historical connections between conflict and the emergence of totalitarian regimes. Those who fear the return of fascism must prioritize efforts to avert war and promote peaceful resolutions. In conclusion, the lessons from history highlight the dangers of ignoring the ties between militarism and fascism. Remaining vigilant against war and its potential to destabilize societies is essential in preserving democratic values and preventing authoritarian takeovers. The narrative around figures like Trump should not distract from the broader, more pressing issue, the conditions that historically lead to fascism. Preventing war and its chaos is a fundamental step in ensuring that such ideologies do not gain a foothold once more. Ultimately, the focus should remain on creating stable, peaceful societies. By understanding how past wars paved the way for dictatorships, we can better guard against repeating those mistakes and foster a future resistant to the allure of authoritarianism.
Haunted by high prices and big government? Don't be a ghost of your former self this Halloween. We've got shirts that'll keep the ghouls and the government off your back. Inflation's scarier than any haunted house, but hey, why not turn it into a costume? Or how about our spooky government shirt? Guaranteed to spook anyone who's afraid of too much power. But if you're feeling real edgy, nothing says Halloween like our Michael Myers No Lives Matter shirt. Cause when it comes to big government, we all get slashed. At 4libertyshop.com, we believe in freedom, not fear. So grab your libertarian Halloween gear before the government takes an extra bite out of your wallet. Or your candy. 4libertyshop.com. Let's make Halloween tax-free.
Hello, this is Barack Obama.
Are you tired of the strange radioactive effects of leftist culture? Do you ever wonder what happened to good old-fashioned American values? Well, fear no more, because there's a new force fighting back against the cultural rot of today. Introducing Culturama, a right-of-center talk show that's taking back the future today. Hosted by none other than blonde bombshell herself, Daniela Pensack. She's not just talking, she's taking culture back. With sharp takes, brilliant guests, and a few surprises along the way. Tune in to the live video podcast twice a week, because the future doesn't have to be weird. It can be Culturama.
If there wasn't going to be somebody who was a fiery champion of liberty, somebody who would get out there and who would be aggressive, and if they wouldn't do it with more fire or passion than I had, then I would go and I would fight this battle for us. I've fought for the principles that we all share. Parties tend to be secondary to me. We're here because we believe in the principles of liberty. I am not a perfect messenger, but I think I'm a damn good one. This is a replica of our first president's flintlock pistol. You have my full support, my respect, and my gun.
I think that at the heart of my philosophy is much more libertarianism than well, that's the fashionable word these days, I guess. A conservative is no longer just that. He's a libertarian, and always has been.
Yet any time you and I question the schemes of the do-gooders, we're denounced as being against their humanitarian goals. They say we're always against things, we're never for anything.
What is fascism? Fascism is private ownership, private enterprise, but total government control and regulation.
Well, the trouble with our liberal friends is not that they're ignorant. It's just that they know so much that isn't so. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. This is the issue of this election. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
The conservative, so-called, is the one that says less government, get off my back, get out of my pocket, and let me have more control of my own destiny.